Hey, it's Benjin, and today I'm going to be showing you a strategy that we used last week to build a list really quickly. Now, you might have heard of this term before, and this strategy is called solo ads. Now, here's the thing. We implemented a campaign last week that cost us about 29,000 US dollars, and this yielded a result of a list size of 19,000. So if you look at these two numbers, it cost us 29,000 US dollars, and in turn this built a list of 19,000 subscribers. Would you say if this is worth it, not worth it, or inconclusive? So I'm going to be talking about this case study here in this video, and pretty much how to build a list really quickly and really understanding the numbers behind it. Okay, so when we implemented this was in the personal development niche. This niche is pretty much foreign to us. We don't have an existing list. We don't know much JV partners within this niche either. So this is one of the quickest ways to build a list, and it's only recommended if you understand the numbers behind it. If not, you will end up losing a lot of money. So that's the purpose of this video, to teach you how to understand the numbers. What are the kind of numbers you need to understand so that you can build a list really quickly without losing money. Alright, so one of the things you need to understand when it comes to solo ads and paying for traffic to build a list is this inverse triangle here. Okay, now this is your sales funnel. Okay, you notice that I talk about this a lot in my videos. And you really need to understand this concept if you're going to be paying for traffic. Alright, so now below this video I'm going to be showing you the different stats that we got from the solo ad campaigns. But before we go into that, let me explain a couple of things. If you're going to be spending money, be it $30,000 or $30, you need to understand the fundamentals and the concept here first. Now, if you are building a list and you're paying money for it, the first thing that happens when a subscriber comes is this is what I call a tier 0. This is where the first thing you want to do when you're paying for traffic is you always want them to go to a squeeze page. Now, a squeeze page is a page where you ask a person to enter their name and email, or just their email, in exchange for something. Now, many times this is the first mistake marketers make. They pay money for traffic which goes straight into an offer. Now, this affiliate is only going to lose money because ultimately they're just making the vendor, the owner of the product, make money. So the first thing, rule number one, you have to remember, whenever you're paying for traffic, rule number one is it has got to go to your tier 0, which is a squeeze page, so that you can capture their email address. Okay, that's the most important thing, because again, if you are not building a list, you are not building a business. So rule number one, if you are paying for traffic, always make sure that you are capturing a person's email address. If not, you'll always be trading your time for money. You're not building a business. And the size of your income will be in direct proportion to the size of your email list. Okay, so that's the basis. That's the basic thing you need to do, number one. Alright, so as we go down into the deeper tiers, let's call this tier number 1. This is usually, now if you've been following my past videos, this is usually a low ticket item that can range from about $27 to about $50. Okay? So the first thing after that a person needs to go to, after they come to an email, is you can now sell something that is within this price range. So let's say what we did was we sold a $37 product. Right? We sold a $37 product, and that was our tier 1. Now, I talk about the sales funnel a lot, and the purpose of this video is I'm not going to go through a sales funnel much, but pretty much as you go down this tier, the products become more and more expensive. And what we did was we let the customers to, once they buy this, they'll be taken to a one-time offer. One-time offer of the first one-time offer and the second one-time offer. Now, the first one-time offer is $67, and the second one-time offer was a recurring for $27 a month. Alright? So this is pretty much what a customer would go through whenever we paid for this ad campaign. They would first go through an email where they needed to put in their email to receive this free gift. After they claim their free gift, they will be taken to an offer page where we sold a product for $37. That's over here. And if they bought that, they would get the premium version of it, which pretty much included more videos, audios, and more training for $67. And if they bought that, they would have been sold a one-time offer of a membership site at $27 a month. So, here's the thing. Here's what happened. When we paid $30,000 or $29,000 for all the solo ads, it came from about 10 plus different solo ad vendors. Okay, so one of the things you need to be doing if you're paying for traffic is you want to have an Excel spreadsheet on all the different solo ad vendor names and what is the result they individually created, so that number one, if you know if they're scamming you, if they're not really delivering the clicks, if they're sending fraudulent clicks, if their clicks are from targeted customers, are they converting? So you need to be tracking every single one of them, and I'll be sharing with you the results of this as well. In the spreadsheet over here, that's located below this video, you'll notice the solo ad vendors that we bought from, as well as the opt-ins we got, the number of clicks we had, how many opt-ins. Now these are the figures you need to understand when you are purchasing and buying solo ads. Now many times people paying $100, $500 for a solo ad, and they just hope for the best, right? Now that is not a strategy. Every time you spend $100, you need to know if you made that $100 back. Now, when I talk about making $100 back, it doesn't necessarily mean that you got $100 back in sales. It could be in the form of subscribers as well, because this is worth money as well. So when we spent $29,000, okay, in terms of sales, we didn't make $29,000. In fact, we kind of lost money. We made back $16,000 in sales. That means out of spending $29,000, we only received $16,000 in sales, which means technically we are still losing money of about $13,000. If you take 29 minus 16, that's about $13,000. But here's the thing. We've also built a subscriber base of 19,000. And to me, that is worth about $1. Easily worth about $1. Some people say that a subscriber is worth $1 a month. So to us, a subscriber base of 19,000 people is worth at least $19,000. So in that sense, we actually made money. But here's the thing. Much more important than that is that we now understand the numbers behind all these solo ad vendors. And if you are paying for traffic, you need to understand what your numbers are. Now below this video, I'm going to be sharing you the spreadsheet of all the numbers involved, but pretty much the jargons that you must understand as a marketer. The first thing is called EPC, okay, earnings per click. Out of $1 spent, how much did you make back in dollar sales? That's the first thing you need to understand. Chances are for $1 you spent, it would be considered pretty good if you broke even right up from the start. So this is where this needs to come in. If you want to have higher earnings per click, you need to be promoting an offer that has got a very deep funnel. Now many times people pay for solo ads and they just have a tier 1 in place, selling some $7, $27, $37 product, and that's it. If that is the product, the funnel, how that looks like, chances are you're going to be losing money because the funnel is not deep enough. So one of the things you want to look at is the product funnel. Make sure it's deep enough so that the earnings per click can cover, the next term, the cost per click. Your earnings per click must always, well, you should try and at least break even. Because if your earnings per click is not as high as your cost per click, just like what happened over here, you're going to be losing money. And you want to make sure that your back end is good enough so that you can monetize off the subscriber base. Now, one of the things that I want to really be clear here, and to be fair to all the solo ad vendors over here, is that these are just my results. Your results will vary, and all these solo ad vendors, even though let's say there's a few solo ad vendors where there was very, very high cost per click and the earnings per click was very low, it could be my fault. Maybe it was because the swipe that I gave to the solo ad vendor wasn't not converting. It could be due to that the copywriting on the landing page was not as good as the other solo ad vendors. So there are many variables in play. There are many other factors in play. So I'm not saying that there's a particular one which is better than the other or one that's worse off than the other. I'm just saying that these are my results from the $29,000 that we spent. Alright, so leave your comments below. Basically, for a successful solo ad campaign, these are all the different jargons that you need to know. Your earnings per click, your cost per click. You need to factor in how much is a subscriber worth to you. If you've been doing email marketing for a while, you'll roughly know from every 1,000 subscribers that you have in your database, how much is that worth to you. So you need to really understand the numbers, and as long as you know the numbers, you can scale indefinitely. If you know that by spending $1,000, you can get back 2,000, how much would you spend? Right? So, and that's the beauty of paid advertising. I know that many people are scared when it comes to paid traffic because they're scared of spending money, losing money. But at the same time, if you really understand the numbers, this is pretty much, you can scale indefinitely, meaning that you can, if it makes you double, you want to spend as more as possible because you can be making as much as possible. Right? So this is pretty much it. Solo ads is pretty much one of the fastest ways to build a list, only if you understand the numbers behind it and if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you'll be losing money very quickly. So if you're starting out, what I would suggest is put a very small budget just to play around with, put in like, buy a very small campaign. And first thing, again, to kind of recap, make sure this is in place, step 1. Step 2, make sure that the funnel is deep enough so that your earnings per click will be high and you could at least try and break even with the cost per click. If that doesn't happen, that is still fine as long as you have a good back end and you know what to do with this subscriber base.